This is part 14 of the truth and history of the corruption within the United States. In my last video, I was discussing how President George W. Bush sent U.S. troops into Iraq, having them believe that they was doing something good to lynch Saddam Hussein. I also mentioned the brutal murder of Gaddafi after he started his own central bank and only accept payments in the gold dinar. But it's very important to mention that this assassination was not done by President Bush. It was done by yours truly, Barack Obama. See, a lot of people have it in their books that Barack Obama was a very good president, but in fact, he was very corrupt as well. Not only did he do this and sign numerous laws to further oppress and suppress the American people, he also split up Sudan and created what we now know as South Sudan because they found some very important resources inside of South Sudan. Then he nationalized it as the Republic of South Sudan, and we all should know what the Republic actually means. See, a lot of these presidents make the American people believe that they are bringing democracy to these lands, but in all reality, it's just to bring in a private central bank and allow them to be in control of these national banks. Here's a statement made by Barack Obama in 2011 when they made the Republic of South Sudan, and you guys can pause and read. Now back on the continuation of the series. Now, according to General Wesley Clark, the master plan of the dollarification of these oil-rich nations included 7 different targets. The first being Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finally Iran. And Venezuela actually made this list because they dared to sell their oil to the Chinese for the yuan. And this came later on in time. And what's notably important of these first 7 nations that I mentioned and that was targeted by the US is that none of them were members of the Bank for International Settlements. And this bank was the bank that these private central bankers use, located right here in Switzerland. Yep, everything falls back to Switzerland when it comes down to these private bankers. And these 7 nations that was not a part of it were deciding for themselves how their country's economy will be without submitting to these private central bankers. And if you've been paying attention to the news, they've been mentioning Iran a lot more recently. And see, what they'll tell you is that they have weapons of mass destruction, but in all reality, it's because these greedy private bankers have their gun sights drawn on them. See, they threaten to start their own central bank and choose what currency they want to sell their oil off of. And they'll make us believe that it's actually a threat to the United States. In all actuality, it's only a threat to the private central banks or the Federal Reserve. I'm running out of time, but like for part 15 because we are not finished yet at all. And the truth shall come out.